following match is scheduled for one fall, and it is your Gimmick Battle Royal!
And we're off and running with the Gimmick Battle Royal. Take a look at this. 18...
Just like in all forms of entertainment, when something takes off, other companies or the same company tries to copy or just blatantly rip off. Wrestling is no different. When one gimmick works, either the competitor comes up with a very similar gimmick or completely rips it off, or years later, the same company rehashes the gimmick with a new performer. So today we are bringing you the first ever Gimmick versus Gimmick. And our two combatants are the richest men in the WWE. The $1 Million Man Ted Dibiase versus JBL. Let's see who had the better promos. Let us begin with Ted Dibiase, the $1 Million Man. I remember times when I was a little kid watching his promos, and he would go out and buy a public pool and go swimming by himself. Now, the one thing that always got me about this is, like, you're the richest man in the world to us. You have been on Lifestyles of the Richest Famous. Why are you buying a public pool? Well, for heat. He would go out and buy the public pool so no one else could go swimming in the pool. I mean, what's more villainy than that? And then you have JBL, hunting down Mexicans at the US border. Now, a time when WWE is trying to be PC and trying to get the Hispanic culture to watch more of it, what more heat than this? Than going down to the Texas-Mexican border and preventing illegal immigrants from crossing the border and taking jobs from good, hard-working Americans. Now, those two are very memorable promos, but you could also go with Ted DiBiase and kicking the basketball away from the little kid, the making people kiss his feet, being on the Lifestyle of the Rich and Famous, and then you have JBL celebrating longest reigning champion on SmackDown because Triple H didn't want to win Tuesday. Sorry, I think the first round goes to Ted DiBiase, who obviously, as the richest man, had the better promos.
Always gets his way.
Next up, stables. Now, we started with Ted DiBiase last time, so let's start with JBL. During his title run, he had a stable called The Cabinet, made of Orlando Jordan and the Basham Brothers, with Jillian Hall and Amy Weber joining every once in a while. Now, the thing about this stable is they were very successful, between JBL being the longest reigning champ in SmackDown history, Orlando Jordan winning the US title, and the Bashams winning the tag title. This stable was your key group of what stables need to be. A heavyweight champion, a mid-card champion, and a tag champion. So, very successful stable overall. But then we get into Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man. And you really can't call what he did stables. Don't get me wrong, Money Inc. did become tag team champions, and it was really great. But he was more of into buying people. Let's take a look at this. So, in his $1 Million corporation, he bought IRS, King Kong Bundy, Nikolai Volkov, the 1-2-3 Kid, Psycho Sid, and heel-turned Tatanka. I mean, that's a stable and all, but he really didn't go, oh, let's be friends and help each other out. No, he's like, here's money. He knew it was a business. So who really had the better stable? Do you go with the accomplishments of the Cabinet? Or do you go with the money buying of Ted DiBiase? Well, I gotta give this to Ted DiBiase for two reasons. Number one, he bought the belt from Andre the Giant. I mean, what's more than that? After he bought it, he kept Andre on his payroll. I'm sorry, but when you have a guy who's gone undefeated for 15 years, I think you have the better stable. And let's not forget Virgil. To this day, people still say, well, you're just looking for a Virgil. So that right there is transcending history. You don't hear anybody saying, well, you're looking for an Orlando Jordan. Not really. So, gotta give this round to the $1 Million Man as well, because apparently money can buy everything.
Always gets his way.
Next up, most memorable matches. start with Ted on this one, because it's a very short list. I mean, for all the things Ted Dibiase's done as the heel in the WWE, you could only sit there and honestly remember maybe 3 great matches of his. His loss to WrestleMania against Randy Savage, his feud with the Ultimate Maniacs with IRS, and his match at WrestleMania against Hulk Hogan and Beefcake with IRS. All 3 losses to very good wrestlers. I mean, Ted Dibiase has had memorable moments, but memorable matches isn't one of them. On the other hand, JBL has had a loss to John Cena at WrestleMania, a loss to Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania in 21 seconds and then retired, a loss to John Cena in an I Quit match, but he's had memorable matches as well. I mean, him being chokeslammed through the ring by Big Show and crawling out to retain the title in a steel cage match, him beating Eddie Guerrero for the title, the Texas Bull Rope match. I mean, JBL has had a lot of memorable matches, and I hate to do this, but sorry, Ted, you might be a legend and a Hall of Famer, but JBL's just had better matches. The winner? The Wall Street Tycoon himself, Mr. JBL. Next up, major accomplishments. Now, before we get into this, let me be very clear. I'm only counting JBL's accomplishments, not Bradshaw as the acolyte. So if I leave off some tag team titles, sorry, I'm counting the gimmick of JBL, the richest man. I'm also leaving off what Ted Dibiase did in WCW as the NWO, because he wasn't Ted Dibiase, the $1 Million Man. Well, that said, let's jump into it. JBL, WWE Heavyweight Champion, longest reigning champ for SmackDown history, as I've stated a few times in some of my videos. No more Triple H joke, I promise. Oops. Intercontinental Champion, US Champion. Very great accomplishments as the JBL Gimmick. Then you have $1 Million Man. He won a tag team title with IRS. He won the King of the Ring in 1988. Oh, this? Oh, yeah. Don't tell the WWE, I kind of borrowed it for this video. What other wrestler can claim that they have a title named after themselves? No, the FTW Championship does not count, Taz. This is the $1 Million belt. Ted Dibiase was a $1 Million champion twice, meaning he had to lose it at least once to Virgil. Okay. Yeah. But when Ted couldn't win the heavyweight title or buy the heavyweight title, he went out and just had himself a nice $1 Million encrusted belt made. And it's a very good accomplishment, but unfortunately it's not recognized by the WWE. The only other thing I can think about with Ted is 2 Slammies and the Hall of Fame induction. And if the rumors are true this year, JBL will have that Hall of Fame induction as well. So as much as I don't want to go against this belt, I'm sorry. Biggest accomplishments have to go to JBL, the longest reigning champion in SmackDown history. We're all tied up, and let's go into the final round. Catchphrase. Now, I joked a couple videos back ago about JBL's catchphrase being,
Everybody wrestling God!
and it's a very good catchphrase, don't get me wrong. If you want to go in the greatest wrestlers of all time, you go right up there if you want to be a wrestling god. Perfect. But let's be honest. How many times have you sat there with your friends and said,
Everything and everyone has a price for the $1 Million Man.
not only is it the catchphrase that everybody has a price, it's the laugh as well. To this day, wrestling fans still imitate that phrase and that laugh. And it's a Ted Dibiase exclusive. Whereas other wrestlers have used the I'm a wrestling god, no one, except Ted Jr., which is okay because that's his son, has used everyone has a price. So I'm sorry, if we're going to go with the best catchphrase, it has to go to the $1 Million Man. And I'm telling you right now, he didn't pay me to say that because everyone has a price.
I'll
And that's our first episode of Gimmick vs. Gimmick. If you have an idea for a Gimmick vs. Gimmick, let us know. Write it in the comment or follow us on Twitter at 4RealWFans. Until next time, I'm Latino Loco for the 4RWF, where real wrestling fans live.